To this day, I still don't know what went through Susie's head before she jumped into the rock quarry. Did she accept the risk? Had she nothing to lose? Was she fearless? A little background. There was this abandoned rock quarry in the area where I grew up. It was called Old Occoquan Quarry, a fenced-off, abandoned quarry across the river from the town of Occoquan, Virginia. When I was in high school, one summer day, with nothing to do, some friends brought me along on an expedition to check it out. We snuck through a hole in the fence. There was a no trespassing sign, thorns, mosquitoes. We were in swimming suits and carried bath towels and got all scratched up and sweaty. I should preface this by saying we were doing a lot of drinking at the time, so my memory is vague. But I actually found pictures online of the quarry, so I know it does exist. After we got through the trees and shrubs, after a lot of, I don't know if we should be here, guys, this huge quarry opened up before us, and we stood in awe. It was probably the biggest land formation I had seen up till that point in my life. There was a waterfall. I felt like I had discovered a mini Grand Canyon in my hometown. Since the quarry had accidentally flooded and there was an emergency evacuation years before, lore had it that cranes and dozers remained below the surface of the murky brown water. Who knew how deep the water was? Maybe inches, maybe a mile. We each took a turn looking carefully over the edge and then pretending to push each other off, challenging each other to be the first to jump. There were probably about 7 of us there, 5 boys and 2 girls. Susie was this little blonde who couldn't have weighed more than 85 pounds. She was always laughing, and she could drink double her weight in beer, I swear. As the rest of us stood in a circle doing rock, paper, scissors for who would jump first, we see this blonde blur pass us. With a running start from the tree line, she shot past us, ran along a drainage pipe, and leapt off into the quarry. It was high, at least 90 feet, maybe more. "Oh no," we all yelled. Susie wasn't the only person to take a wild leap. In 1740, a man named William Byrd took a leap too by purchasing a 1-mile square tract of land along the banks of Hay Creek at its junction with Schuylkill River. He established a forge, and then another forge, and a sawmill, and a grist mill, and a furnace, and bought more land, and built up the town of Birdsboro in eastern Pennsylvania, which bears his namesake. During the American Revolutionary War, his family was the largest producer of iron in America. The town of Birdsboro was founded on forges and iron foundries. It's a town of hard-working people who are resourceful and know how to make ends meet. Tradespeople, kind people, they help each other out. Birdsboro Quarry is an inactive quarry composed of dye-based rock in the town of Birdsboro. It's much like the quarry from my high school days, except less illegal. 20 years ago, 2 climbers took their own leaps. In 1992, Jay McClear got word from a friend about some really big cliffs 100 feet high on the outskirts of Birdsboro. He went to scope out the area and saw potential for a climbing destination. He contacted a climber named Bob Perna, and the two, with the permission of Birdsboro Municipal Authority, started bolting roots there. It was very much an intentional labor of love. Those OG climbers made it happen through force of will. Today, Birdsboro Climbing Quarry is a prime climbing destination with over 100 sport routes ranging from grades 5.5 to 5.14. Back to the Susie story. My friends all hurried to the edge to look over to see if she was okay. We were expecting to jump in after her or see a spinal injury or something horrible. What we got was this huge yippee as Susie surfaced, wiped her blonde hair out of her face, and shouted up to us, "That was crazy!" After that, we went for it, each of us taking turns, inhaling a deep breath and jumping off. I still remember it hurting my feet, hitting the water from that height, and going so deep, everything went dark and the sunlight becoming a faint glimmer up above. Once you finally surfaced, you had to swim to the base of the cliff and then scramble out of the mud and muck and free solo, barefoot, up the quarry wall. Maybe that's when I fell in love with rock climbing. I just remember slipping and almost falling back down into the quarry, but eventually pulling myself over the edge to see my friends saying, "How sick was that, man?" I also remember an adult in a kayak paddling in the quarry and telling us that the water was sewage runoff and that we would get sick from jumping in it. We probably threw beer cans at him or something, the buzzkill. I doubt teenagers still go to the old Occoquan Quarry. The area seems too commercial nowadays. Besides, I'm sure the authorities caught on. And if they haven't, I apologize to the Nova high schoolers out there for blowing up your spot with this video. The Birdsboro Quarry is very much alive and kicking, and I recommend you check it out. Well, where is Susie today, you might be wondering? I haven't spoken with Susie in over 20 years, but I heard from a mutual friend she is alive and happy and is a regular functioning member of society. She actually went to a top school and has an MBA. Here's to the early adopters out there like Susie, William Bird, Jay McClear, and Bob Perna, and all those out there taking wild leaps.